This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Always love getting together with her. Learn so much. And we're like a car screeching down the road. We'll go one direction to the other direction. Today, we're going to pick up our conversation from last time about the mind, the brain, why we do what we do. Go a little bit deeper dive into that. And she's got a lot of insight on a lot of this as an RN, practices acupuncture, massage, and so much more at her wellness center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it's so great to have Teresa Wilkinson back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
Really good, really good. And
Good.
learned a lot last time we started talking about the brain and such. I don't even know where we're going to pick up today. Where are we going?
I think we're going to go just on the neuroplasty of the brain, the way it wants to operate. You know, a lot of times we think everything's stuck. And I want to say, too, what's interesting is what we can do to prevent aging with our brain. You know, a lot of people start kind of declining, not only physically, but mentally. And if we keep our brain active and keep learning new things, we can actually keep it youthful. So kind of a metaphor on that is if a river is flowing, it stays pretty clear. But if it's stagnant, it gets murky. So if we just some people want to recluse and stay at home and not do anything and not get out, not be social. And really that just kind of creates a stagnation. So we really want to kind of keep ourselves learning new things, doing new things, even learning a new language, for instance. I know when we get older, that's a lot more difficult. When we're younger, it's easy, but those stem cells are active when we're younger. But if we can keep ourselves alive, adaptive, and responsive, it's good. So think of some people that deal with anxiety all the time. They keep that. It's kind of like a hamster in that wheel. They keep that anxiety going all that time, and that neurotransmission, staying nervous and anxious. But we're talking about the neuro-linguistic programming earlier, how you can kind of reset that, release that, and kind of start a new cycle. So it's whatever we talk about and think about comes about.
How would you define you mentioned the word almost a second ago, neuroplasticity. What exactly, we hear that term, how do you define that?
Well, it's really where the brain has the ability to rewire itself. So we're kind of like a hardwiring, like a telephone or a computer, and but we do have the ability to change its programming. One thing that's kind of interesting, another metaphor is, say you're walking through a field and you want to go to this particular pond or destination, cliff, to overlook something, and you keep making that little pathway over and over till finally, say it's all grass in the beginning, and you keep doing it over and over, you finally create a path. And so that's what we do with our thinking is if we start thinking positively about things, and hopefully we can regenerate our processes where we're creating a path to wellness, to being enthusiastic and hopeful and helpful rather than depressed and in the dumps. So,
but if you're creating that that path, you could also be creating one that doesn't support you too, right?
Right. That's why you want to And I'm sure that's why counselors are busy helping people, because they're trying to get people to open up and explain why they have the feelings they have, or they're stuck in the ways they're stuck, and then try to get them to release that, open up, let it go, and then start a new life, a new journey, a new way of thinking about things.
Hmm.
And so that's where I think positive affirmations are really good. The I am that I am, and the law of attraction is another example. That movie. Do you remember the movie Law of Attraction?
I do. I'm trying to think back to it. It's been so long.
I think it was 2010 it came out, so it's been a while. But it was a good movie in that
Yeah.
it explained that.
Hmm. Um, well, I mean, we can go
So,
down a totally different road there too. With some believe that you create your own reality. What you think becomes. So it's almost as if you're negative, you're going to create a negative situation. Negative people are going to be coming your way because you asked for it in a lot of ways.
true. And I think, too, in these programs like AANA, those steps that they have people go through, they use some of this type thinking in those steps to help people recreate a new life and, change their patterns.
Mm,
So I just know I've heard some people that are active in that, they're always talking about that kind of thing.
gotcha.
So,
Yeah, it's. I know it's a little woo here, but when you start seeing the evidence of it, of what presents around you, I know we diverted here from our original path.
no, we're
Of
on track. We're on track. Go ahead. Did you have a comment?
no, just it's the law of attraction. I believe it's real. If you send out signals even unintentionally about people you want to meet or people you don't. If you're thinking it, you're transmitting it. So there's a chance that that's going to show up for you, and that might not really support you.
Right, right. So that's where I think that's why it's good to uh, have a kind of a time where you do meditate, whether it be daily or even weekly, or like you said, on a long drive in a car when you're by yourself, it gives you a chance to
Yeah.
uh, meditate and think on things. And then I always think it's good uh, to have those positive affirmations. I used to do it when I would run. Um, every step I took, I would use it as a rhythm of I am health,
Oh,
I am joy, I am happiness, I am um, helpful, I am. And so it would give my mind something to do while I would jog.
love that. Man, what a great idea. Because you're using the rhythm to set that up. But instead of
Yeah,
thinking thoughts of like, oh, I got to get to work, I got to do this, I got to make sure I do that, you're using the time in a positive way. So you're working on your body, but you're also working on your mind at the
on your
same time.
mind.
Yeah.
Right. And
Hmm.
then, yeah, and so we're really kind of mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. And so I was at a funeral yesterday, and they talked about, yeah, we have a physical, but then we have a spirit body and a soul body. And that kind of got me thinking, because I always think in the terms of physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, but the soul.
Hmm.
And where do we go? Now, you talk to enough people. Do you have any clues on where we go when we die, where our soul goes?
Whoa. Okay. Um,
Because I
so,
know you talk to a lot of people. So, what's your
yeah, and,
thoughts?
and it's, well, I can only give you my view of it because I'm not other people, but I believe that when somebody passes, their energy is still around. It's still here. Sometimes you can pick up on it. Sometimes you can feel it. Um, I'm believing too that we are spiritual beings in these meat containers, like that's, and like a car, after time they break down, and after like a car, after time they get replaced or just go on. But I'm seeing more evidence of that, and I've worked with many psychics over decades. It just happened that way. I'm not a psychic connoisseur. Maybe I attracted it. I don't know.
You did somehow.
Yes. So, and help launch their media careers. So I would see it in real time, and I'm talking legit psychics where they are connecting with the other side. They are bringing messages over. They are being validated with those messages. And I didn't really get deep into it until my mom passed 7 years ago. And that's where, feeling her presence, getting signs, very specific. That's where I had a new realization that I believe that your energy is still around when you're not. Sometimes others can pick up on it, sometimes not.
Okay, so do you think that it's only for a certain amount of time after they pass, or it's forever? As long as you're here.
I can't really answer that question.
It's hard to say. Well, yeah. What happened to me after my dad died, he was into, he restored antique cars. And so the antique car horn is a ooga sound.
Yeah, of course.
And so I was working on a patient, and we were the only ones in the clinic. It was around lunchtime. And all of a sudden, I heard the ooga horn go off about 10 times out in front. And I thought for sure somebody had come in with one of those horns and was doing that. And I went out there, and there was no one there. And so I thought, well, that was my dad. So I think you can get signs like that. Now, I have a patient who had a wife that he always said she'd leave messages on the answer machine, back when we had answer machines. But his son ended up coming in to see me, and he told me that he listened to the answer machine, and sure enough, it was his mother on there. So that was his validation. But
wow.
Anyway, I know.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna. You're making me think now. Back to your question. Over time. My dad passed when I was 21. Suddenly, heart attack. Wasn't super close with him. Correct. Thank you for remembering. That was his passion.
Yeah.
And I've shared that I joined a men's group exactly 2 years ago. And I mean, to the day, not even kidding. And isn't it interesting that you have brought this up? But here's the thing. I went on a retreat 2 years ago. That was the beginning of joining this men's group. And I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Is this a cult? What am I doing? No, but it's been very beneficial. But I go away on this retreat. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, this is out of my wheelhouse. And one of the lessons on the retreat was to forgive your father. And, and if you didn't like him, I'm not saying I didn't like my father, but didn't really know him that well. But the lesson was to take the lessons, good or bad. There was a lesson there that you got from your father. So, I made amends in my mind and all of that. And then I had the realization, the last day of the retreat, which would be tomorrow, and I didn't realize this until just this moment, would have been his birthday.
Wow.
So I almost feel
that makes sense.
He pushed me into this. So, I could have some realization. And I didn't even realize it because, he passed away so long ago. I don't remember his birthday.
Right. The thing is that means he was a Pisces, and that's why he loved the water and being on the boat.
Didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So that's why he loved that. That was his passion.
Wow.
And probably because he was so busy doing that, that's why you didn't get to know him so well. Unless he got you out on that boat with him.
Well, you know what?
Sometime?
The year he passed, I was on a couple of months before he passed. I was on his boat, and hadn't really spent a lot of time with him. I got a job, big job when I was 17, 18 and on. And here's the other, and I'll just share it with you real quick about how things happen. He never would be able to listen to me on the radio because he lived in the other county. And I I changed shifts and changed stations and all of that, and now he could. And then he passed away like literally 2 months after I started. So he got to listen to me, and he said he was proud, and I remember that. So I
That's
believe
very cool.
you
That's
might
very
not get
cool.
signs and things like that, but direct connection, but be open to it. Like going away on that retreat. Like, what are the chances? Like the day I'm leaving, and all of a sudden, bing, it hit me. That was his birthday. I don't. That wasn't a
Uh,
coincidence. That wasn't a
right,
coincidence. I believe
right.
it.
I think things happen that are kind of symbolic like that, or meaningful, that
Yep.
tie us in for remembering. Now, my dad's dad, he died of tuberculosis in my dad's arms because my dad was moving him in bed, and he asked for forgiveness. Forgive me for everything I've done, and then he died. He took his last breath and died. So he asked for forgiveness right there in his arms, right when he was dying. And it was dad got his draft notice to World War II, and it was mother's 17th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was kind of a lot. But anyway,
Hmm.
there's more to the story why he needed to ask for forgiveness, but at least he did, which was good. But
Wow.
anyway, I do have a psychic that I've worked with before, that is called uh, Messages from Heaven. And he is the only one that I've ever talked to that actually does, he does a invocational prayer. And then I'm always wanting to check in with my parents usually, but everybody, all the say relatives from who knows where, will come flooding in, and then everybody wants to start talking at once, and then he has to kind of sort it out, and then he will. You can ask a question, and then he'll give the answer of what they're telling. And so my impression is it takes a lot of energy for them to come from the other side, so to speak, to communicate to you. And then in a flash, it's usually about 30 minutes, they're gone. They can only hold the energy for so long. And then because they're in a higher vibration, this is a very dense vibration. Like you said, we're in a body of meat, which is really, we're the salt of the earth, which kind of takes me to another thought about salt. I had a patient bring me some salt and some supplements that are salt based from Utah, and this guy has a company called Exceptional Nutrition, and he has a lease on land up in Utah, and he makes all these nutritional products from the salt. And so they have all these miracles over people taking these supplements. And my bottom line is, I guess, biblically it says we are the salt of the earth, and so that's probably why this salt works so well with all these people having healing. And he also had a clinic down in Mexico using these for healing cancer. So
Wow.
he's now mid 90s, and he looks like he's 60 because he has this little salt spray that he sprays on his face, and it keeps his skin real youthful.
Well, funny you should say this because I'll be on that later. Um, there's a story just came out about moms going viral, putting salt around their kids, but a lot. Like in a playroom, there's salt everywhere. Like not a sandbox, but a salt box because of the belief that salt is restorative. Why do people go to salt caves with Himalayan salt? So the thing went viral.
Oh,
I'm not saying I
oh,
agree with it,
and
but I'm
and
just
and
saying.
there's also, I think, a new thing. At med spas about salt baths. There's something new about that. But salt is purifying.
Yeah.
And one thing about it is if you want to create a sacred space, and that's how I will bless my clinic is with salt. And I will go along the doorways and sprinkle it through the rooms and bless the rooms and bless the place. And I use salt. And I learned that. Actually, I
Hmm.
learned it when I was nursing, working with a woman who had worked with Oral Roberts. Have you heard of Oral Roberts?
Sure,
Tulsa's known for that.
sure.
And anyway, he used to do miracles. Believe it or not, we're having the Route 66, which is a highway. It's 100th birthday, and we're all pulling together to have this 5 hour cruise with antique cars to have uh, oh a big event honoring the Route 66. But where he used to do his miracles is in a park across the river where Route 66 started, where
Wow.
they started construction on it.
Mm,
And anyway, so he was well known for his miracles until when he built the university is when I think he wasn't doing his miracles anymore. So I don't know if all his focus going to building something diverted him away from that spiritual connection that he was having with doing those miracles. But it's well known,
yeah.
for years that
And
happened.
and even what you said before about salt, that's used in a spiritual way to cleanse, just like you're
Right,
saying. Um,
right. It
can
keep,
I?
it keeps bad energy out.
Yes, yes. Salt baths, all of that. I'm gonna pivot for a moment, but can I show you
That's good.
something?
Yeah. Is it a crystal?
No,
Okay.
and it's not salt. Um,
Oh, good.
this
All
is the
right.
stuff you mentioned
Yeah,
last week.
that's right. That's right.
The lilium
Yeah.
just came yesterday, and it said in between meals. So yeah, I'm just about in between meals. Haven't taken it yet. Literally just came. When did you take it? And side note, this compound natural, you lost
All
weight.
herbal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You lost a
Yes.
lot of weight in a very short time. When did you take it during the day?
I just took it first thing in the morning. So
Okay.
I have that protein drink that we've talked about. How I make up a batch to last a week. In a blender, I put fruit and vegetables, like everything in make a protein drink, and then and I'm adding those minerals from that man that gets them from Utah now. Anyway, I I take all my supplements first thing in the morning. And then a little bit later, mid morning, is when I have an almond because I have chickens, so I have eggs, farm fresh
Wow.
eggs.
Well, thank you for
So,
telling about first thing in the morning because I was going to take it, but then it said between meals, and I'm like,
well,
why?
now doesn't it say once a day? Just
Yeah,
take
but
one a
between
day.
between meals.
Well, I wonder since I took it first thing in the morning, it was definitely between a meal from the one before I went to
Well, you know what?
bed
Any time
and
is
the one
between
in the
meals.
morning.
Now that
It's
I think
right.
about it, you're always in between meals whenever you take it because you
That's
have another meal
right.
coming up. Like, duh.
Yeah, so you're good. You're
Like,
good.
and I don't overthink things, but I'm like, all right, well, I'm thinking, equally spaced. If you have lunch at 12 and dinner at 6, I'll take it around 3,
Yeah.
because I want maximum
Yeah.
benefit. Yeah. But yeah, see, I listen. I listen. Um,
Yeah,
I
good.
love what you bring to light things that we may think of, we may have heard of, we don't have confirmation on them, things you always wondered, and you hit them up. Like even talking about the mind and everything going on there. I know we got a little deep in woo,
Yeah,
but this is the stuff that people think about. Where do you go when you pass on? Our spirits around us, all of that stuff.
that's right. And I do believe I guess I still think that everybody goes to maybe I used to think that okay, we always hear when you return to your source, and our source to keep our planet alive is the sun. So I always thought we went back to the sun. That's kind of like a hub of taking us then if you want to go to another galaxy or wherever you want to go next. But I always thought the sun, but now I believe from working with the voices from heaven, I think that there's uh, a level above the earth that's just like the earth, but a higher dimension that we go to. that would be heaven, because we're in a spiritual body, so it's going to be a higher dimension, a higher frequency. But I think people get to do what they want to do. Like if you were always a farmer and you love your horses and cows, you're going to be where you have horses and cows. Or if you're like my dad that loved antique cars, he's going to be cruising around an antique car. Your dad, he's on a boat out in the bay.
I kind of don't, I don't doubt that. And I'm going to share and we got to jump, but thought just popped in my head before when you were talking about all that and, salt and et cetera. My dad loved salt water. That's where he kept his boat. It wasn't on a river. It wasn't on a lake. It was salt water. And I don't know why I would think that, but I know there's a reason I thought that. There's something there with what you were just talking about.
Well, because salt water is healing. I'll tell you this. Do you know about what poison ivy is?
Sure.
Okay. So I was, I had been not allergic to poison ivy, so I could actually pull it up with my bare hands and no problem. Well, this particular time, I guess the plant was really potent or whatever, and I pulled a bunch of it up. And I was right before going on a cruise to the Bahamas. And so I went on that cruise and I had this poison ivy really bad from the elbows down in my hands. And I had to kind of keep my hands behind myself meeting people because people want to reach out and shake your hand. And I'm like, no, you don't want to shake my hand.
Yep.
Anyway, as soon as I got there, I went to the beach and went in the water. And I wasn't in the water but 10 or 15 minutes. And it healed my poison ivy. It healed the poison ivy.
I believe
it's very healing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, gargle with salt water when you have throat irritation. Why? Right. It's healing. Thank you for today. Thank you for the insight. I know, like the car driving down the road, we were, swerving all over the place, but ultimately coming back to talking about the mind and the brain and all of that. TulsaPath.com is where we find you, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And you know what?
Cruising down what?
I just want to share too, if anybody's got a question about what we're talking about here, even your thoughts on what happens when we're not here, instant feedback, steve@gmail.com. We'd love to hear them. Seriously so.
Okay.
Really. All right.
Okay.
Thank you for today.
Fun. All right. Well, have fun tonight.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
I'll talk to you soon.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.